Thank you, everyone. Welcome. I'm Dave Yang. I'm one of the co-founders of Pursuit, and I'm going to be your MC today. We just hit 101 people here for the Gong ceremony. Really, really exciting. This is the biggest Gong ceremony we've had to date, and I'm really, really excited to celebrate with all of you. So today we're going to be ringing the gong with four amazing, amazing fellows. For those of you who are here for the first time, the Gong ceremony is a tradition we started when a fellow accepts a job offer and is about to kick off their career. So it's a really big milestone. It's everything that we've all been working towards. You'll hear directly from all four fellows today, and they'll be sharing their stories. They'll be sharing, their journeys and their transformation as well. But the Gong ceremony is not just a celebration of the first job. It really is a celebration of the entire journey, even before Pursuit. So our fellows are going to share, their experiences, and you'll hear just amazing stories of grit, resilience, perseverance, and I'm so excited. And you'll hear from Enrique later as well, but this is actually his second Gong ceremony. So especially excited to celebrate with Enrique. And thank you all for joining. We're really excited that we can show Sergio, Suzette, Peter, and Enrique that we're going to continue supporting them in the next part of their journey. So before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to our one big team. I know we have we have some board members, we have some operating board members here. So thank you all for joining. I want to give a special shout out to a couple of people. Simone, I also think we also have someone else joining from Council Member Kevin Riley's office. So thank you for joining us today. We're big fans of the council members' work in the Bronx, and we're really looking forward to working together. A few volunteers that I want to give a special shout out to who are really instrumental in supporting the fellows who are celebrating today. So Jeff, who was Enrique's capstone mentor, Ray, who was Sergio's mentor, and Fred, who's also Peter's mentor. Special thank you to you. I know, the success of our fellows is really dependent on the support of our one big team. So thank you all for joining. I also think I saw some faces. We have 3 fellows who are also currently working at Audible. So I want to welcome them. So with the 4 that are joining Audible, now we have 7. So lucky 7. So I'm really excited to celebrate with you all. And I know I mentioned this, but welcome 8.0. I'm really excited. Yesterday, we just sent out offers to our newest 8.0 fellows. They're starting in about a month. And as you all know, the admissions process is really rigorous. I think everyone here who's joining 8.0 will tell you it was an intense process full of assessments, interviews, workshops, take-home challenge. So yeah, I think everyone who's joining us here today from 8.0 has, just demonstrated extreme potential. And so we invited them today to welcome them to the community. Thank you. So hello 8.0. Let's turn off our mics and let's give them a big round of applause and welcome them to our community.
Yeah. Congratulations, Peter. So proud of you, man.
Go wait.
Welcome 8.0.
Amazing. So how does the Gong ceremony work? This is an image from way back when we were in office. You can actually see Enrique there. He's bringing the gong. So a throwback there. But we actually had a physical gong in the office, and we would ring the gong. It's awesome in this virtual world that we built a digital tool. We can celebrate over Zoom. And it allows us to all of us to celebrate together. And I've mentioned this to many people, but it's awesome because in the past it was, we just celebrated with whoever was in the office, but today we can celebrate with 110 people here. So amazing. So what I'm going to do actually, we're going to share a link to the Gong app over chat. Share everyone here. Victor just shared it, and I shared it again. So everyone, click on that link. It'll take you to the Gong ceremony app. It was actually built by Alejo, who is a fellow and one of our instructors, and he's part of the employment team now. But it's a fun app. It allows us to celebrate all together. So click on that. You'll be greeted with a instruction page. Hit the enter button. The fellows who are ringing the gong will have their own separate login, but once you get to the gong screen, it'll allow us all to celebrate together. So yeah, the four fellows today have prepared remarks. They're going to share their journeys. After each one of them shares their remarks, I'm going to ask that we all turn off our mics and give them a big round of applause afterwards. But before we start, I also want to quickly introduce Jeremy. Jeremy's the senior recruiter at Audible, and he was really instrumental in helping us drive our partnership with Audible that made some of the hires today possible. So please join me in welcoming Jeremy, and I'll hand it over to you, Jeremy.
Great. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. This is my second gong ceremony. As David mentioned, we had a few summer 2020 interns that joined us last year virtually, and we were able to then convert to full-time opportunities in September when the internship program finished. And so we have kind of been involved with Pursuit for about 2 years now. As David mentioned, I'm on the recruiting team. I manage along with a couple other individuals who may be on. There was 100+ people, so I was kind of scrolling through to see who had joined, but I wasn't sure if I saw them on yet. But we handle the early careers program, which includes this internship program we'll have this summer, and then also just some early hiring. So it's exciting. I've been with Audible actually just over 8 years myself. I think I take it for granted that most people know, Audible, but it's certainly gotten a lot more relevant and a lot more presence over the last few years. I was actually at a doctor's appointment earlier this week, and talking with the physician, and he was like, "You work for Audible? That's so great." So it's kind of fun to see that a little bit more and more when you can have those conversations with people that use it regularly. So, and again, I think most people do know what Audible does. You may associate it with just audiobooks, right? But certainly we are getting more into the original space and as well as the podcasting area. So definitely check it out if you haven't had a chance to. As far as the Audible mission and a little bit more of an overview, if you haven't had a chance to look at Audible and see some of the things that we're involved in, the thing I'll point you to is the Audible people principles. I'm sure the four that are have accepted with us and are joining are quite familiar with them. We talk about them quite a bit as part of the interview process, but they are easily found on our careers page. And the one I'll certainly highlight is called Activate Caring. And it just, to me, sets Audible apart from a lot of other companies that are out there. Certainly companies do have missions and philanthropy and things like that, but Audible, like no other company that I've ever been a part of, goes above and beyond. And part of that is what we're talking about today, our relationship with Pursuit, right? We want to be part of this opportunity. But even beyond that, we're based in Newark, New Jersey as our headquarters. We have an office in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and there's just so much that's done by the company to be involved in the community. And I won't give a lot of detail, but one of the highlights over the last year since the pandemic started is one called Newark Working Kitchens. If you get a chance to search that, Google that, and see kind of how Audible made a change and pivoted during the pandemic to help the local communities where we work. It's a pretty amazing story. And then, like I said, we've been involved with Pursuit for about the last 2 years. We're excited to welcome one's already with us, actually, technically, Enrique. I didn't actually work with Enrique too much. He joined us full time directly, and Tyler, who's on here, I invited him to participate in this today. He let me know he's on our Android team, and so we're excited to have him join us. And then Sergio will be joining us as a SDE intern this summer. Here in a couple of weeks, we'll start. He's joining our Audible digital assets team for a few months, and hopefully that will lead to greater things. And then Peter and also Suzette are joining as quality assurance engineer interns. So we're excited to have them joining us as well and be a part of that program. So welcome again, and excited to participate here in the Gong ceremony.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's great to see our fellows joining all different parts of Audible. Yeah, as Jeremy mentioned, Enrique is got hired outside of this internship opportunity that we set up, actually. So yeah, excited to hear about that. For a little bit more context, our team has been working incredibly hard, our partnerships and business development team, to create these types of partnerships with employer companies. And so I also want to give a quick shout out to everyone on our partnerships and business development team. Ellie, who's also not on the call right now, was instrumental in pushing forward this. Philip, who's on the team, helped there as well. So really grateful for their work and really pushing forward this partnership. So thank you all for that. So without further ado, this is the order of fellows today. We're going to kick it off with Sergio. Sergio is, I think everyone will, agree with me when we say that Sergio has such a great energy, and I think, as he shares his story, I think, we'll get to share in his excitement, but also just humbleness and just his incredible talent. So please join me, everyone. Please turn off your mics, and let's give Sergio a big round of applause and welcome him for his remarks.
Congrats, man. So proud of you, dude.
Congrats.
Hello to everybody in the Pursuit community and all the friends of Pursuit. My story, as some may know, doesn't fit inside the standard path towards success. But really, which story does? In my case, after spending most of my time dedicated to art in Argentina, I found myself as a 30-year-old immigrant with no college education in the harsh job market of Philadelphia. My first couple of jobs were paying around $8 an hour and were still presented to me as opportunities. It was mind-blowing to end up realizing that my life, all of a sudden, had become the raw representation of what happens after several mistaken choices: not going to college, dedicating to art in the underground scene in Buenos Aires, and then having a daughter with a girl from the US. But soon enough, I've learned something. Choices don't matter as much as who you are. So when I was ready to jump fully into the delivery business because of more freedom and a slightly better pay, I got the email from Pursuit telling me that my application was accepted. My family was just visiting at the time from Argentina, and we all celebrated because this, after a lot of scams that sadly our system still allows, felt like a real opportunity, and it clearly was. Dealing with JavaScript or React wasn't the most difficult to me. After all, I already had been able to deal with music, writing, and theater. It's complexity in a really high level, and also I've been always been good at math in school, and so to me the real challenge was to fit in, to communicate with a potential employer in a way that shows something that I don't know if I have, which is ambition, desire to grow financially. I don't think I have that, and I was never interested in being part of the higher class. It's like Che Guevara said when he defined the most important quality of a revolutionary: I'm able to feel injustice against any human in any part of the world, and was never interested in a better life just for myself or even for my daughter, who was the reason for me to come to this country. All I ever wanted, and I guess the reason I became an artist at the beginning, was to help people wake up to the fact that the only real solution for this world's problems is communal, with everybody on board, and never individual or segmented. That's why Pursuit's mission to reach forgotten minorities is so aligned with what I believe in. And honoring that is to stand towards the future with the same honesty and human values that I had from the start. Because what matters at the end is not how much you earn or the lifestyle you're able to afford. What matters is that you really become the best person that you humanly can be. And what a company or the world needs in order to be a good place is good humans. That's when the equation turns the opposite. Because at the end, we don't need to fit in or surrender to any logic that we don't naturally agree with. That's also why coding challenges are meant to disappear in interviews. The most logically gifted person could easily be the most selfish or the worst team player. Being able to solve a puzzle or having a high IQ doesn't really mean that much anymore these days. What we're actually bringing to companies today is not intelligence. Computers are already surpassing us in that field. But our values and transformation power, fueled by nothing else than human sensitivity. And after all, that's the most important thing that I found in Pursuit. Incredible human beings of all kinds. So I want to give a big thank you to everybody that helped me along the way, especially Deza for her kindness, Alejo for his perseverance in teaching, Winter for her energy, JR for his style, Ling Tran, who was my mentor for the capstone, for making me go further and making me push harder. Ray Chu for just believing in me and transmitting that faith, who was my Google mentor. The whole 6.2 class, which are all incredible people that I'm really happy to have met. And I want to leave this final remark. I also thank Jeremy Bradshaw and Audible for also believing in me and giving me this incredible opportunity, and leave a final remark. Society doesn't shape us. We shape society. So never be afraid to stand up for who you are. Cheers to all.
All right, Sergio, you're gonna share your screen and ring the gong?
Go.
Woo!
Sergio.
Sergio.
Thank you, thank you.
Congrats, Sergio, and thank you for sharing. Yeah, really those beautiful words. Yeah, I think so much of it resonates with me, particularly the part about just finding just great human beings and creating a community of great human beings. So thank you for being a great human being, and thank you for sharing those words with our community of great human beings. So thank you. Next up, we have Suzette. And yeah, Suzette will share her story, her journey, her path to gaining this incredible opportunity, and just, yeah, how much grit and resilience she's shown over the years. I know, yeah, she's such an incredible human being, and I'm excited to welcome her. So everyone join me in welcoming Suzette.
Woo.
Yes, Suzette.
Hey, everybody. 1 second, please. So, hi, everyone. I'm Suzette Islam, and I was a part of the 6.2 Full Stack Web Development class. And I am extremely happy to say that after 150 applications, I have accepted my first tech role as a quality assurance engineer for Audible's summer internship. So my story starts in Harlem. I had a teacher who was teaching us how to build static websites. So in the 6th grade, I never thought much of how web pages came to fruition, and I was amazed. I can be creative on a computer. That experience, even though it was brief, was so impactful on the decisions that I would make later on in life. So fast forward to college at SUNY Binghamton as an educational opportunity program student. I started my college career early in efforts to put me on the same starting point as the other students who were beginning that September. During my first year, I was taking remedial courses, which put me back about a year or so. So when I decided what major I wanted to pursue, it was unfortunately too late. I would have needed 2 additional years to complete that. So then I ended up obtaining a degree in human development. I figured, why not give career in social work a shot? I had experience working with others, so it shouldn't be impossible. And I knew if it didn't work out, I could have found an alternative route into tech. I graduated and I started my first job as a medical care coordinator in the Bronx, ensuring that 40 women who were HIV positive were adherent to their medical care. During this time, I was working with so many medical stakeholders, and I was growing frustrated because I frequently had to update each doctor on my client's medical situation. I was always thinking to myself, if there was a software that could hold information for all the doctors on one platform, my work and my clients' lives would be so much easier. So I decided to go ahead and find the solution as opposed to being part of the problem. And then I enrolled into tech classes at the New York Public Library. There, I got a refresher on HTML, CSS, and I learned some JavaScript. That's when I started to gain the momentum. I got more excited and I started looking for boot camps and other ways to learn how to code. And that's when I found Pursuit. So the first time I applied, life intervened and a health challenge kept me from continuing my candidacy. Once applications reopened, I applied again, and this time for the 6.0 cohort. I made it my personal duty to submit the application as soon as possible. And when we had the 2-day JavaScript workshop, we were given a take-home assignment to plan out an application that we would want to build. And that's when I was really amazed. I had complete control over what I wanted to do. And that's how I knew Pursuit was the program for me. I remember when I got accepted, I was working reception at a charter school. And I had to take a 10-minute break because I was literally in shambles. Like I had to go to the bathroom and like cry it out because this was the breath of fresh air. Like I literally gasped for air and I can finally do what I wanted and not just settle. I was really excited and very active in the first months at Pursuit, but I was also getting tired because I was working at the charter school. My day started at 6 o'clock in the morning and ended at 11 at night after Pursuit. This schedule was taking a toll on me, so I ended up quitting my job. I solely wanted to focus on what I knew would be a brighter future, and I decided to take a chance on myself. With the time I gained, I was able to focus more on the material we were learning, and I went to Pursuit early for office hours, connected with more people, and was actually able to get the full experience that I wanted. Alejo is the same. I would break all of the code that I would build and would panic. And he would be the first person that I wanted help from. He through our one-on-one technical training, I realized that I was a visual learner. And Alejo would help me visualize what was going on with the code by literally drawing out pictures for every line that I would write. Honestly, I'm here to tell you all that we don't deserve him. Once I completed Pursuit Core, I began aggressively applying to jobs. I was meeting with several recruiters and kept revisiting my job search approach. After about 4 times that I switched tactics, I began to feel the burnout. I reached the end of the interviewing process for about 6 companies, and I was only getting rejections. And I really began to doubt myself. Then the Audible opportunity was introduced to me. In preparation for this opportunity, I was doing LeetCode and HackerRank problems for about 3 hours a day and doing mock interviews at least once a week. I made sure that I tried my hardest so I wouldn't have doubt in my abilities when the interviews came around. And lucky for me, all the work paid off. I just want to give a shout out to the Audible recruiter who worked closely with us, Jeremy Bradshaw. I did not pass the first round of interviews, but Jeremy looked at our feedback and he was able to refer me to the QA internship. I was kind of bummed that I did get that first rejection, but then I got the second chance. And Jeremy gave me another opportunity at Audible when I thought the door had completely closed. By the time the last interview happened with the hiring manager, I was sold. I knew that the place I could grow at and learn at was at Audible. Finally, I want to give a huge thank you to my support system. To my 6.2 class, thank you for being patient with me and teaching me all the things I did not know. You believed in me when I was doubting myself. Malik, Khadija, Briani, and Giselle, thank you for being my pursuit gang, clocking in coding problems as bonding time and always being a message away to help with an annoying bug. I want to thank my mentors who taught me how to think critically and ask all the questions. And I want to thank the entire Pursuit staff for giving me another opportunity to explore my interest in tech and actually have a career in the industry as my new reality. So with all of that being said, I know I spoke a lot. I'm gonna ring the gong.
Congrats, Suzette.
Congrats, Suzette. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story, and yeah, thank you for for sharing your journey. Thank you to Alejo as well. I think I totally agree with you. We don't deserve Alejo. And a special shout out again to Jeremy for supporting our fellows in their work. Awesome. Next up, we have Peter, and actually Corey is going to introduce Peter. So I'm going to hand it over to Corey.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Hello. Yeah, my name is Corey, and I'm an instructor here at Pursuit. I wasn't Peter's teacher. That honor belongs to Alejandro, whom unfortunately couldn't make it here today. I can't tell you how amazing it was to have Peter as a student in my class. I can only tell you how amazing he has been as a team member in our class. I met Peter in November. He applied to work as a TA for the 7.2 class, and I was immediately blown away by him. Peter is brilliant, talented, hardworking, funny, musical, humble, patient, great vibes, and big fox. I met Peter, working alongside Peter has been the most fun I've had working at Pursuit, and I've been here for 3 years. He's helped cultivate an incredibly positive and accepting classroom culture. He's connected deeply with every single student and will be missed greatly by all those who know him here. In the classroom, he has become a role model, a mentor, a leader, and a friend. He's led reviews, helped students, contributed code to the helper queue, graded, developed plans to better aid students, and much, much more. Every day, I am more and more impressed by him. To think that a little time ago, he himself was a student. Peter has fully embraced the advice from his favorite Star Wars movie character. As Yoda said, always pass on what you have learned. As sad as I am to see you leaving our class, I couldn't be more excited for you to begin your next adventure. Audible is so fortunate to have you. And thank you, Peter, so much for everything you've brought into our class. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. If everybody could please unmute and help me welcome Peter. Peter.
Big Fox.
Thank you, Corey. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today to celebrate Enrique, Sergio, Suzette, and myself. My name is Peter Fiorentino from Pursuit's 6.2 cohort, and I am beyond excited to announce that I have accepted an offer as a quality assurance engineer intern at Audible. There are so many people who are responsible for this achievement that deserve my thanks, and I want to start with my instructor, Alejo. Your patience and dedication for me and my success is something that I will never forget. I can list all the ways that you took the time out of your schedule to improve my understanding of the material, but instead I will say that my life has drastically changed for the better in the past 2 years, and I cannot think of anyone more responsible for that than you. I will always be grateful for having met you. To Mike and Corey, I want to thank you for bringing me back into the classroom and offering me the opportunity to be an IA for the 7.2 cohort. Mike, you've made my time at Pursuit as a staff member revolve around how you can best prepare me for my upcoming role at Audible. You've always started our meetings by asking me, what can I do to help you get where you want to be? And that managing style is something that I will remember as I move forward in my career and is one of the many reasons I see you as a mentor. Corey, I never imagined that when I came on as an IA that I would end up with such a great friend out of this experience. You were the first person who made me feel like my input was valued in a workplace. Even though I'm the assistant, you always made a point to tell me that it was our classroom and that we should make decisions for the class as a group. You invited me to be a collaborator in your app that you created, which helped me feel validated as an engineer and gave me the confidence to jump into this new position at Audible. Thank you, and big Fox. To my parents, brother, sister, friends, and Samantha, who all sacrificed time seeing me for an entire year because I was staying late in Long Island City to study or missing birthdays and countless other occasions because I just needed to figure out a way to reverse a linked list. Thank you for being so patient with me and supporting me on this journey. I know I will end up forgetting someone, so apologies in advance, but thank you to Juke, Dave, JR, Winter, Dessa, Ben Sussman, Jess, Tali, Caroline O, Caroline Kang, Alexis, my co-IA Sam, my capstone mentor Lynn, my mentor Fred, Jeremy Bradshaw, who pushed for me to get this position at Audible, my 6.2 classmates, and my 7.2 students, and anyone else who helped mold my experience at Pursuit. The staff here is so special, and I'm not just saying that because I'm now on it. When I first walked through the doors of Pursuit, I knew that I needed a skill set and a new career, but I had no idea how badly I needed a community to be a part of. I never expected to grow on a personal level as much as I did during my time here. I always struggled with the idea of finding my place in the world. I tried to find it as a fiction writer and as a musician, as an English teacher, a piano teacher, and a few odd jobs in between. But it was through Pursuit that I gained the confidence to realize that while what I do as a profession is important, it's who I am that's really what matters. I'm a person who loves technology and helping others, two things that I'm not sure I would have figured out without Pursuit. I want to extend a special thank you to Andrew Daly, who introduced me to Pursuit and helped me take the first steps into turning my life around. I don't think either of us expected this program to have such a large impact on me, but I'm very glad that it did. Thank you everyone at Pursuit for helping me feel ready to start my career at Audible. And now I will ring the gong. Can everyone see?
Yep.
Congrats.
Congratulations, Peter.
Congrats, man. Big Fox.
Congrats,
Peter. Congrats.
Congrats.
You did it. Woo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Peter. Yeah, it's someone decided to cut onions for all of us apparently. Yeah, I'm so excited for you. You were so instrumental in helping our 7.2 fellows. I know the 7.2 fellows who are here are yeah, have so much thanks and just are so grateful for you, and Audible's getting an awesome engineer. So congrats again. And last but not least, we have Enrique. And Enrique is actually going to be introduced by Jeff Drews, who is one of our amazing all-star volunteers who's been supporting Pursuit for such a long time and has been was Enrique's personal mentor as well. So take it away, Jeff.
Thanks. Hi. So you said I'm Jeff Drew. I work for Amazon Web Services. And I've also volunteered for Pursuit for about 5 years. And so I originally met Enrique when I was his capstone mentor for his team. And so met with the team, and it was like Cliff and Kai and John, great guys. And I said, what are you going to do? And they said, oh, we're going to do this augmented reality space invaders. And I thought, I didn't say, I thought that will never work in 6 weeks because actually the camera to preview code is really one of the worst parts of programming, I'd say, across all programming. But the Android preview to camera is just terrible, especially go back 2 years. I think they cleaned it up. But anyways, I knew that, but I didn't want to demoralize them. So I said, well, like, what's your backup plan? And so we agreed that if they couldn't get something working in about a week, then we'd swap to a backup plan. Now, if you saw it, you of course know that it was amazing, right? It worked. It's like there were spaceships flying out across the auditorium for the final presentation. It was so cool. So then, we stayed in touch, and then we got to the point where I was starting this cloud operations pilot with Pursuit. I said, you got to do it. And Enrique said, I got other stuff going on, but we negotiated, and he joined and gave me a lot of good input, and was a very good kind of guide for me, giving feedback on like, here's what's actually going on with the students. And it was great. So then he said, but I'm interviewing. And so then it became, I gave him some coaching, and, and I was going through kind of the emotional roller coaster of interviewing with him, because it was like, he said, yeah, I got through the first phone screen, but they want to do a second phone screen. It's like, and I'm in a sister company. I'm like, we don't need to do a second phone screen. But anyways, they did. And so, we prepped again. And so then when he finally showed up on the Amazon, his first day of work, he slacks me on the Amazon Slack. I almost cried. It was great. And then the last thing is, I chatted with his hiring manager because it also involves this other program that I'm working on. And I just wanted to say, like, how did you come to this decision? And he said, three interesting things about Enrique. One, like, he really dug into this problem of a wedding registry, even though he explained he didn't actually know what a wedding registry was. And so that was like tips for interviews. Don't tell them you don't know about a wedding registry, but it was very impressive. And then he had really a passionate understanding of this Viper construct, which a lot of the other programmers there hadn't really heard. And then the third interesting thing was Enrique, it's a classic programming interview. They said, okay, tell me how you would do display play an audiobook. And Enrique said, well, can I ask some qualifying questions? And the interviewer said yes. And then Enrique proceeded to ask more qualifying questions than any other candidate ever had. And so the hiring manager was very impressed by that, tremendous mind for detail and thinking through a problem. And so, which was not surprising to me. And so it's been a great few years in my friendship with Enrique, and I'm very happy and complimented to be here today. So Over to you, Enrique.
Thank you, Jeff, for that. Um, so just in case some of you don't know me, my name's Enrique Cruz. I was a student of 5.4, the Android class at Pursuit. So this is my second job in my career. And after about a year of persistent applications to Audible, I finally got in. So I'm really happy about that. So a few thanks that I want to give are to my instructors, Lucy Lee and Jose Villa, along with the TAs and my classmates as well. Mainly because I was given the core fundamentals of Android and I had a stepping stone to start off with. They helped me answer my million questions, and my instructors and TAs gave me a lot of tough love when it came not just to analyzing my work, but breaking out of my comfort zone and having me speak on a technical level and not be afraid to be incorrect. I also want to thank my boyfriend of 4 years, coming this August, who not only helped me financially by working 40 hours a week so I can study and apply for jobs even during the pandemic, but was there for me whenever I doubted myself and whenever I got too disappointed in myself amidst the amount of rejections I got from jobs all over the world. He knew my potential in being a great worker and knew that one day somebody would give me a chance to show them that I can do the job, even though I didn't go to college for computer science or even have years of experience as a software engineer yet. I want to thank my mother, and I think I'm actually going to say this bit in Spanish because she doesn't know English, and I want her to hear this and know that I want to thank her. También quiero decirle gracias a mi mamá, a mis hermanos, mi hermano y mi hermana, que me ayudaron, que me dieron un lugar a dormir cuando estaba yendo a la escuela, cuando necesitaba algo de comer o solo alguien con que platicar. Y siempre voy a estar agradecido por eso. Y muchas gracias, mami. I want to thank my former classmates again, one more time, because there's a lot of them and they deserve a lot of love as well. They're the ones that I went to for questions, catch up, or just to say hello. And I want nothing more than to see them get jobs and you know, us celebrating together or even having another talk. I want to also thank my mentor, Drew, who not only saw the potential in me when helping me get the job at Audible, but also there for me when it comes to my nerves about an upcoming interview, giving me some great pointers, even if the advice is to write it down, because that's something I did not do until he recommended it to me, and to not psych myself out. You really gave me a lot of good advice that I've been using this whole time, and it's helped me not just grow as an engineer, but as a person. I want to thank the recruiter, my recruiter, Tyler Mataya, who is on this call, for giving me an opportunity to show Audible what I can do. And I'm here to prove them that they've made a great choice and keep going forward. Lastly, I want to thank my team at Audible. I've been working there for almost a month now, and not one day have I felt a dread to go to work or felt scared to ask anyone questions. A bit nervous maybe, but not scared. So thank you for making me feel as part of the group. So at Pursuit, I started interviewing there in 2015. It was known as C4Q at the time. It took a few years for them to finally accept me into the program, and that was in 2018. But before that, I went to a private college for web design and graduated in 2012. I didn't have much help after graduation, so I took on a lot of unpaid internships until I could finally get a paid job. Unfortunately, what I learned was so trivial to what I should have learned that I wasn't even considered for most jobs. I saw what was needed for an actual job, which was being a web designer, and it felt so daunting to do it myself and learn a whole new coding language that I feel that I should have learned in college. I worked in retail for a few years to get myself to talk to people. I've always been shy and thought this would be a great way to encourage myself to get to know a whole spectrum of people and know how to communicate effectively. It wasn't until 2018 when I took a second job and saw that I didn't want to work too hard to have a living. I wanted to do something with my intelligence and feel valued. I wanted to work somewhere where I'll be proud of and not dread coming into work every day. So when I joined Pursuit in 2018, I was living in Passaic, New Jersey, with my boyfriend. He and I talked about how to handle the program and work at the same time. Ultimately, we agreed that with the help of his father, they would both support me while I was in school. My schedule was weekends and nights. On the weekends, I would stay over at my mother's house to save money on traveling from from New Jersey to New York and vice versa. She would provide me with food and a place to sleep so I'd be able to focus on my studies. Traveling from NJ to NY was mostly a pain, mainly because it was 5 blocks and not just city blocks. It was like the avenue blocks. So it felt like 10 blocks actually. And some of these were hills. So that was even more pressure. And it felt worse on hot days. Sometimes, to be honest, I did dread going to Pursuit just because of that walk. But I would look at my boyfriend going to work and remember what I'm doing this for. That little motivation kept me going, even if the weather was 100 degrees or -0. After completing the program, I didn't feel like I had nowhere to go. I had a support system and base knowledge of where to start. It was up to me to keep ramping it up and not feel too left behind technical wise. I landed my first job shortly, but because of COVID, I was unfortunately laid off and felt a huge amount of demoralization. I went back to coding in Java while the industry was moving towards Kotlin for the future. I thought since I was comfortable in Java that perhaps I could get another job and just learn Kotlin from scratch. However, after a while, I gave it some thought and told myself that if I wanted someone to take a chance on me and my skills, I would have to put in the same effort and risk. So from thereafter, I would take all my interviews in Kotlin, still knowing that I'm not an expert in it, but I'm willing to learn and put myself out there. For the past year, I was rejected for about 300 plus jobs. When I would get to final interviews and rejected, the amount of self-doubt inflicted on myself would increase dramatically. There were times where I wanted to call it quits and just maybe go back to my old retail job where it was easier. But I knew that route was no longer available. I committed myself to this, and with my support system, I knew I wouldn't be alone and I should just focus on my studying. I'm not starting at 0, I'm continuing from 100. For few last words, I want to say, I know it's easy for me to say that you should keep going and keep applying for jobs. But sometimes it's a good idea to just take a break. Sometimes it's a good idea to study and not to worry too much about interviews. There's going to be a lot of bad days, and some may be worse than others. Go reach out to your former peers, instructors, mentors, and even family members. Just by telling them what you are going through, they could help you lift some of that pressure off of your shoulders. Give yourself a reason to continue this journey. And every time you feel like giving up, just look back and remember what you are fighting for. Look at that progress you made. And remember, you aren't starting from the beginning, but continuing and marching on. I highly recommend taking risks, even if that means learning a new language. software, or even soft skills like public speaking. Because if you don't take a risk, then no one else will take a risk on you. And with that, I am going to ring the gong here. Shoot. That's done. Second. Oh no, I didn't give permission for my screen. So I may have to do this without the screen sharing. All right, but the noise will still be the same. All right. Let's see. One more second.
Yay!
Woo!
Congrats.
Hey.
Congrats!
Go Enrique!
Enrique. Woo! Enrique, thank you for sharing your story and yeah, being so open and yeah, it's a very, oh, there it goes. You want to do it again? Actually, why don't you do it again for everyone? Was that you that you shared your screen?
Oh, I think I did.
Let's do it right. All right.
Oh, okay.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. One more time. That one didn't count.
One time.
Yay!
Hey.
Now we need to go back and let everyone else get 2 gongs.
Double gong for Enrique and double gong for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the fellows for sharing today. Thank you for being so open and reflecting with all of us. Yeah, I think, yeah, I know everyone's journey to Audible was not a straight line. I know we share that diagram of how everyone's path is this crazy squiggly line, and I know everyone here embodies that. But yeah, we're so excited because you're just starting your careers, and as you can see, you have so many people here to support you. Thank you to all the family members that joined today, all the volunteers, all the mentors, the funders, the board members, staff, 7.0, 6.0, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and our new 8.0 fellows who are joining us for the first time today. I'm so excited for everyone's journey. Congrats again to the 4 that rang the gong today. And this is just the start. So you have all of us here to help supporting you on the next step of your journey. So let's close everyone out with another big round of applause. And yeah, thanks for joining, everyone.
Woo!
Thank you.
Great work, you all.
Woo!
Thanks, everyone. Hope to see you at the next gong ceremony.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.